Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Coach's Corner with Chernikoff. Although I don't generally call myself by my last name, but when people do, they call me Cherny. So you can call me Cherny if you want. I've certainly been called worse. Not necessarily today, but I've been called worse before. But welcome to the Coach's Corner. I am still amazed, as everybody knows, by this technology. And yeah, we are live. How cool is that? Way to go, Ken, for figuring out this technology. Anybody who's watching on YouTube or Instagram or LinkedIn or wherever you are joining from around the world, you can join in the chat. Anywhere you put in anything you put in the chat comes directly to me. So this conversation is a little bit about rejection, a little bit about overcoming rejection through one of our methods. And then we'll also be a little bit about what's going on in the world of Josh. As people know, we kind of go back and forth between a small town in Mexico and our home in Washington, D.C., Capitol Hill. We've got some cool things happening down here in Mexico. So we'll get into those. So again, if you are joining us live from Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, did I say LinkedIn? Or Restream, feel free to raise your hand, which is going to be a common theme today. Raise your hand, say what's up, and let's get to talking. And by the way, let's get to doing this too. Let's see here. Tell me if you can hear this. Oh, yeah. For those of you who are from DC, good stuff there, right? Not only do we have some music to play with, but we've also got Hail the Redskins. And hopefully nobody back in DC minds me playing that because I don't have the rights to play that, but it's all good. This is an educational show. So not sure if you guys got a chance, but Ken can put it in the chat. Ken, maybe you can go to Apple Podcasts because that's where most people are listening to our show. And you can put in a link in the chat to the latest show with Chris and Corey of Rocket PD, our friends, Chris and Corey. Actually, Ken, maybe you can put it in Instagram. Maybe you can put it in LinkedIn. Maybe you can put it in all those other places. And hello, Christy. Welcome. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. If you would love to kind of get your name out there in our community, feel free to, Christy, put where you are and kind of what you do. And we'll see how we can work together here. But Ken, maybe we can put the the link to the show with Chris and Corey into the chat here and all over the place, because that's what we are going to be talking about. So first off, we will use today to dive deeper into the show about Chris and Corey, and there's the link there. Next week we'll have John Gamba on, and we'll dive even deeper. The show that came out is basically from 0 to 50 leads, the Raise Your Hand campaign that transformed an ed tech company, and 2 members of an ed tech company, Chris and Corey, who happen to be phenomenal guys and also have a lot of experience selling in the education space. So I was honored when Chris and Corey came to me and wanted to go through over 12 weeks, the Ed Sales Elevation Experience, to learn how I had done sales for so many years successfully with my 2 companies that I started, scaled, and sold. So Chris and Corey at Rocket PD, they were tired of crickets from their sales outreach. And in this show, we're going to dive pretty deep into how they were able to turn everything around when it came to leads on repeat for their business, Rocket PD. And really what it comes down to for people who take our course and for a lot of people in business is a fear of rejection. Yeah, it's a fear of rejection. And what I mean by that is when we are going through our course, the first week we are talking about ideal client. And we do it our way, which is very different than anybody's ever done it before. So if you're not one of the 97 companies that has gone through the Ed Sales Elevation Experience, you've never done an ideal client exercise like we do it. And a lot of that comes from your gut and your brain when we do the exercise. And then we roll into LinkedIn. And we do some really important work in LinkedIn. We get your LinkedIn profile exactly where it should be to go from a really boring resume to a sales funnel. And then we get into weeks 3 and 4. And weeks 3 and 4 are the Raise Your Hand campaign. And in the Raise Your Hand campaign, we are beginning to reach out to people who have never heard from us. So this is the beginning of targeted outreach. Some might call it cold outreach. But when you do outreach to people who you know can help you, to people who you know you can help, it's not cold because they are going to recognize if you have positioned yourself as a subject matter expert and written a clear and cohesive message to them. What will happen is they will reach back out and say, yeah, I'm interested in talking to you. So the Raise Your Hand campaign helps you ditch the fear of rejection because there will be less rejection. And the reason there will be less rejection is because when you reach out to people, the right people, your potential ideal client, even though they have not heard of you, if your message is clear, they'll say, wow, first of all, that's a very clear message. I understand what they're asking me. Could I spend 15 minutes with this person? I think so. And then they go look at your LinkedIn profile, and your LinkedIn profile is not all the awards and accolades you've won in your life or every school you've been to. Your LinkedIn profile actually shows them that you know what you're talking about. Your banner is professional. Your picture is professional. Your headline is compelling. And again, your profile, your about section, your experience sections read like sales funnels, not just everything you've done in the history of your life. And when you ditch that fear of rejection and you do something like the Raise Your Hand campaign, you build genuine connections and you are able to create a consistent sales and marketing process that delivers results. And that's what you've been looking for. And it's out there. And it all comes through the Ed Sales Elevation Experience. And by the way, for those of you who are listening, who are one of the 18 companies in our 2 cohorts that started 2 weeks ago, welcome. Ken, maybe we can let everybody know in our private thread for the cohorts that we are live so they can join. But yeah, we've got one, Ernie Delgado. Ernie, welcome in Beyond Technology Education from beautiful Chino Hills, California. Awesome to have you, bro. I can tell you that when we started the Ed Sales Elevation Experience, we had 6 companies join our cohort. Half of them paid, not a lot. But as we have grown and grown and grown, and our credibility has gotten stronger, and we've gotten better at our messaging and better at what we do, we now have to have 2 cohorts going on at once. And they're just an amazing group of people. Ernie, like everybody else who's a member or alumni of the Ed Sales Elevation Experience, super good person, would have a beer with every single person. And in Ernie's case, we've had multiple glasses of tequila together in California. And he has promised me that he's coming down here to Mexico. Back to Chris and Corey and the latest show. Hopefully, Ernie, you've had a chance to listen to it. Chris, to you as well. Chris and Corey came to us, and again, seasoned business owners in the education space who know how to sell and close. And they wanted to learn more about how they could sell and close better. So they did the Raise Your Hand campaign. And instead of cold pitching, this approach of the Raise Your Hand campaign, which Ernie is going through right now in one of our cohorts, it allows you to invite potential clients to express their interest in your services, but in a very genuine way. And in the Raise Your Hand campaign, you focus on value. And the way that we focus on value, it's in all of the scripts and the coaching that we do. But when you focus on value, you understand your client's needs and you can tailor your messaging to demonstrate how you can solve their problems. People are there to have their problems solved. And so you have to understand what their challenges are, what their fears are, what their desires are, especially in the education space, because we are not selling, not to take anything away from the folks at Jiffy Lube, we are not selling oil changes. In Ernie's case, we are selling technology that could change a school and change kids' lives forever. That is not an oil change. In the case of Kyle, who's a member of one of our cohorts, he is teaching music, which can change lives forever. All of the members, the 97 companies that have been through the Ed Sales Elevation Experience, they're all in education, and they are all changing the lives of principals, superintendents, teachers, district administrators, and yes, positively affecting the lives of the kids as well. In the Raise Your Hand campaign, you are reaching out to people who have never heard from you, but you have confidence in yourself because your headline is strong, because you know how you can help these people. And you start building relationships and you start nurturing long-term relationships, not just trying to get quick wins. It is not about trying to get quick wins when you're building your business. If you want quick wins, do 30-minute oil changes. Again, not picking on oil changes, but that is something you can turn over very quickly. In education, you are building something for the long haul. But when you go out and hunt for the right people, target them with quality messaging, you will have more top of funnel, high quality leads. And our Raise Your Hand campaign in the third week of our program teaches people how to do that. You are already starting to generate more leads in the third week of our program. And you are also starting to feel better about yourself and your business. So some actionable steps that you can take on your own. A, reach out, happy to help. You can find me on LinkedIn. And by the way, I think I've got there we go. I can run this thing along the bottom here that has my LinkedIn profile, which is linkedin.com/in/Joshua D. Chernikoff. I'm going to run that along the bottom. That's fun. So actionable steps, reach out. Other actionable steps, identify your ideal client. Who are you trying to reach? Whose lives can you transform? Pick one group of people that you can transform their lives. In my second business, Flex Academies, we were able to transform the lives of PTA presidents because they were running the after-school enrichment programs along with their enrichment coordinator, and we took off of their plates many of their headaches, including their biggest one, Well, two biggest ones, liability and making money. We figured out what their pains were. They didn't love the liability and they wanted to make more money. And we solved those problems for them. And then we had a whole host of other challenges in the lives of the PTA presidents that we solved for them. So identify your ideal client and sell to them. And when I say sell, I mean show them how you can, in your messaging, transform their lives. And then you also should be able to understand the benefits to all the other stakeholders, especially in education. You have multiple stakeholders. So in my case, we could change the lives of the PTA presidents. Yes. We also were able to benefit the lives of the principals because their front office staff was happier. The providers, because we helped them scale. The providers are the kung fu, yoga, pottery, whatever, the providers that brought the enrichment to the schools. We are also able to help the lives of the parents because they weren't sending a check for this one, paying cash for that one, and paying credit card for that provider. So that shows that we could transform the lives of the PTA presidents, but there were benefits to many other stakeholders. You can craft your own raise your hand campaign. Absolutely. You can create a compelling offer that invites potential clients to express interest. It takes working on the messaging. It takes a really strong LinkedIn profile. But if you can do those things, you can start doing a little bit of your own cold outreach, which is great because you're also going to experience a little bit of your own rejection. And I'm looking down to see if Ernie is still in the room here because Ernie is working on his raise your hand campaigns right now. And he hasn't had as much success being people responding and talking to him than he would like, which is totally fine because it just means that we just need to go and tweak his messaging, tweak his LinkedIn profile, and make sure we're talking to the right people. We will get it right. I have no doubt we will get it right. You need to develop a system for tracking and nurturing leads, by the way. That is an actionable step. You can use a CRM. To me, CRMs are like commodities. Doesn't matter if you use Pipedrive or Salesforce or HubSpot or high level like we do. Just use a CRM and follow up consistently. Don't be a pest, but follow up consistently with value. And a CRM is going to help you do that. If you need help setting up your CRM, we can do that. We use high level. It rocks. And focus on building relationships. That's a very actionable step. How can you build relationships? You can start building relationships definitely in LinkedIn right after you sign off here. How do you do that? Just start connecting with subject matter experts in your field and commenting on their posts. You don't even need to write your own post. Just comment on their posts thoughtfully, not just a like or a heart or an awesome or a way to go. Comment on their post. You will start building relationships and providing value by listening to other people. Just listen. Feel free to go check out Chris and Corey at Rocket PD. You'll find them. And, if you're thinking about transforming your own sales process, your lead generation machine for your education company, feel free, of course, to reach out to us. We're here to help. Now, we're about 20 minutes in. And if you guys know me, you know that I've got a background in broadcast journalism. I've produced my own shows for many years. So it's time to talk about Josh a little bit. Just wanted to give you guys an update. Some people have been asking where we are on building our home here in Mexico. We are building a home here in Mexico. Again, we spend a lot of our time in DC, but we're also keeping our eye on the build here in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, the middle of Mexico, in the heart of Mexico. We are building a wall, guys. If you know me, you know my politics, you know I'm not voting for the person who's building the wall or wants to build the wall. But we are building a wall here in Mexico to protect the 1,250 square meters of land that we have purchased. And then we have been designing a home since last January. We have a phenomenal architect, and it has taken us a very long time to get to where we are today. But like a business, a home is not built from the ground up overnight. Although people tried to sell us that. We had some architects say, oh, no, it'll take us 2 weeks to design it. Well, no, it's taken us 8 months, I think it is, maybe 9 months, and it's been worth every single second. And by the way, out of all the proposals we received, we went with the most expensive one. I'm always willing to pay for quality. Always willing to pay for quality if the value is there. Now, I'm not going into politics, Ernie. Forget it. It was more a joke about the wall. But I had to make sure that, people didn't think I was in favor of that wall or the candidate. Although I think both candidates are not perfect. That's it, Ernie. No more politics. So we are building the wall. We are building the home. More updates to come on that. I will be back up in DC on, I'm flying from Mexico to Boston on October the 18th. And then on October the 19th, everybody is welcome to join myself and John Gambo. We are running in a 5K race, the Red Bandana Race, which is to honor and support a cause that is near and dear to our hearts, myself and John. And I don't know if, Ken, if you can put in the Red Bandana story into the chat that I've shared with a couple other people here. Let me see if I can do that really quickly, because it's an amazing story. Let's see here. There it is. This is an amazing story that I'm going to put into the chat right now. There it is. It's in the chat. And it's a story of Wells Crother. And so go ahead and get a chance to listen to that. We're running in his 5K. And from there, we will, 5K for you next year, Ernie. But F1 in Austin is awesome. I'm going to, with my buddy Anuj, I'm going to the F1 race here in Mexico City the end of this month. Should hop down for that. But on the 19th, I'm going to run that race along with my friend, my co-host here, John Gambo. On the 20th. Sorry, I'm getting my days mixed up. On the 20th, I'm flying down to DC, going to the Redskins game. 21st, 22nd, I'll be at DC Startup Week. So if anybody's in DC right around then, let's link up at DC Startup Week. I'm really excited to be there. So that's a little bit about me, so people can understand kind of what I'm about outside of the lead generation for education companies. Some would also say I'm about large collars and funky glasses, among other things. My buddies always comment on my collars, but it's all good. I can take it. I can take the rejections. I can take the objections. That is a part of life, and that is also a part of business. And that is what we have been talking about here today. We have been talking about objections and rejections. And in our course that takes 12 weeks, the Ed Sales Elevation Experience, The first couple of weeks, we're thinking about our ideal client and going through our processes, our very unique processes. We're working on our LinkedIn profile so we can present you as a subject matter expert, turning that thing from, awards and schools you went to a sales funnel. And then in the third and fourth week, we do our Raise Your Hand campaign, which I detailed earlier in this show. And in the Raise Your Hand campaign, you are going to experience your first rejection, your first objections from people. And if that happens, it's all good. I love running towards the objections and rejections, because when that happens, we will just know how to tweak your ideal client, how to tweak your LinkedIn profile so that people are motivated to meet with you. And when they meet with you, they will just be confirming that they want to learn more, not doing a discovery call. Very different situation. Again, in the Raise Your Hand campaign, instead of cold pitching, you are inviting potential clients to express their interest in what you do, what your education company is all about. And when you go through the Raise Your Hand campaign, it will reduce the fear of rejection, and it allows you to connect with people who are already interested. They are already interested, which means that's people cheering. When they are already interested and they meet with you, that means you do not have to sell, my friends. You do not have to sell. You do not have to convince, because they are already taking an action on their own. They're already excited to potentially work with you. That's really a wonderful place to be in your business. Okay? We will get you there. So, key takeaways from today. Try and craft up your own Raise Your Hand campaign. Make sure you've got your ideal client nailed down. Make sure you've got a solid LinkedIn profile. Then do your Raise Your Hand campaign through LinkedIn. Make sure you've got a system for tracking and nurturing your leads, because I can tell you what, when you follow what I'm saying, you will have more high quality, high converting leads than you've had before. And you're going to need a CRM, not a piece of paper, not a spreadsheet. You're going to need a CRM. And then when you do talk to those people, focus on building relationships. You do not need to worry when you get a system that creates high quality, high converting leads. You do not need to necessarily worry about a quick win. So you can just nurture conversations, provide value. And when the time is right, because people know how you can help them, they will be willing to pay you. So I hope this has been helpful for people. Next week, we'll have John Gamba, and we're going to go even deeper, most likely, on the Raise Your Hand campaign and the value of the Raise Your Hand campaign, how it works, why it works, and how you can potentially try one yourself. So it's 11:29 Mountain Time where I am. I'm going to sign off here in a minute. I appreciate Christy for joining. I appreciate always Ernie for joining. Ernie's joined our cohort and has become a listener, a friend, a colleague, and somebody I think that for many, many years we'll be spending some time together, whether it's here, whether it's on the phone. Yesterday I talked to Ernie on the phone at the skate park here, or whether it's face-to-face on a beach or in the mountains of Mexico. That's what we are creating, guys. We are creating a community of people that support each other and enjoy each other's company and run businesses, most likely in the education space. So I appreciate you guys joining. Please, please, please check out the show. The title is How This Ed Tech Company Transformed Their Sales Process. It's a great show about Chris and Corey. They're awesome dudes, and they run Rocket PD along with Jesse Lieb, who's a total rock star as well. Appreciate everybody joining. from wherever you were. Paul, awesome. Appreciate you joining on your lunch break. Hope the kid is doing well. I'm imagining you are well prepared for Red October and the Philadelphia Phillies. I wonder what it's like. I've kind of forgotten a little bit what it's like to enjoy October, but the Nationals are coming back, and my Redskins are back atop the NFC East where they should be. So, Paul, thanks for joining. Paul and Ernie, if you guys haven't connected, you guys would really enjoy each other's company. So you guys should connect on LinkedIn and take it from there. We are creating a community of wonderful people, which is the most important thing we can do. Everybody, thanks again. Have a great Thursday, Friday, Shana Tova. Happy New Year if you're celebrating Rosh Hashanah. And we'll see you next week, if not before, with the great John Gamba.